Good evening, everybody. How we doing today? As you may have guessed from the video title, this is going to be a video based on my most recent build. And this is the build that that bow that I was crafting in my last video was for. If you haven't seen that, you should go back and give it a watch. It's pretty good. It's about how to, target craft certain implicits while using fractured and synthesis crafting, and it is pretty informative. I've had a lot of people tell me that it helped them figure out how to craft their own items moving forward. So if you're struggling with the synthesis system, give that a look. But on to what we have at hand. This is an Essence Drain Deadeye. Essence Drain Contagion Deadeye, the Contagion being the big thing that we're trying to scale here. And there's a bit of a story behind this one. I was hanging out in Tarky's chat a few days ago, maybe a week ago at this point, and we were talking about Essence Drain in general, because he was in the middle of playing an Essence Drain Trickster. I hadn't played it in a long time. It's recently gotten some buffs, and I wanted to go back to it, but I really wanted to play an MF Fast Boy build, because I hadn't done a quick MF build in a long time either. So I figured, why not combine those things? Me and Tarky talked about it for a while on his stream. I ping-ponged ideas off of him while he hung out in Patha building, and what we came up with was pretty cool looking. And I think he might be leveling it now as well. I decided to put it together. I don't know whether he'll be playing it too. Either way, you might see a lot of this build between both of our streams. And it's been so much fun. This is like the most fun build that I've played this league so far, by a long shot. But caveats before we go into a map clear, caveats before I show the build off. First, this build is not well-rounded. This build does not boss well. It is not tanky. It does not do single target well. It is purely designed for map clear. That is what it does. It does it very quickly. It does it very well. Not a very good bosser. Just FYI, if you're looking for a well-rounded build that's like good for beginners and easy to get into, this isn't that build. I'm sorry, I do try and sometimes design builds that are well-rounded and can do everything in the game, but not every build that I make is going to be able to do that, because not every build that I make is designed to be a all-rounder. Some of them are very specifically focused on a certain thing, like this one. Second, I realize that quant builds and MF builds are something that a lot of people take extremely seriously and try and min-max as much as possible down to the final T, dotting your T's, or dotting your I's and crossing your T's and making everything, the next iteration upon making it absolutely perfect. This build is not supposed to compete with Wind Ripper Tornado Shot MF. If you're looking for the best MF build, this isn't it. This is a very fun build that combines a few things that I wanted to do. I wanted to play Essence Drain, I wanted to play a quant build, so we arrived at this point. I didn't want to play the best Essence Drain build necessarily, I didn't want to play the best quantity build, but I did want to try and play the best Essence Drain quantity build, so that's what we've made. So if you're looking for a very well-rounded Essence Drain build, try Trickster. If you're looking for a very well-rounded MF build, try MF Tornado Shots with Wind Ripper. But that said, caveats aside, this build is awesome, I love it, and I'm going to show you a map clear, because it really is just a joy to play. So I've taken it up to 93 at this point, and it was very quick to get there, only a few days. And it's been handling T15, 16, 14 content pretty well, mostly because most things don't get to touch me. As you can see, the coverage on it is quite nice, as that Contagion just chains through fricking everything, you'll pardon my language, and has absolutely massive reach because the AoE on it is disgusting, and that's why we've gone for Deadeye over Trickster. Again, as I said in that little caveat section early on, this build is not meant to be the most well-rounded Essence Drain build out there. It's not very good for single target, it's not extremely tanky, it's going to be killed pretty quickly if you get jumped on by stuff. A lot of its defensive tools are mostly to do with simply not being hit forehead. And as a result, we end up with beautiful chains that, particularly when you have the MTX for Contagion, which gets incredible value on this build, just look absolutely gorgeous. And this build is also a joy to delve with. A few little things about the build that enable it, that make it like viable this league when it may not have been in previous ones. You can get a ton of power now out of just your weapon. You don't really need all that much damage scaling elsewhere for Essence Drain. Partially because Essence Drain got a massive buff, so it just doesn't need as much scaling as it used to, and partially because of the existence of synthesized bows with a +1 gems implicit. So those two things combined with the availability of non-element chaos damage over time multiplier means you can scale enough damage while still getting quantity in pretty much all of your gear slots that you can clear red maps very comfortably, as I just demonstrated, while still rocking, at the moment, 50 quant, but potentially up to 70 if I can get a quant amulet and eventers into these 2 slots respectively. Which should be doable, I just need to solve mana, because these are currently doing the bulk of the work mana-wise. The other thing that's made this build much more possible now is the existence of multi-modding with some very powerful multi-modded rolls. For instance, the non-element chaos damage over time multiplier I mentioned earlier, but also things like cast speed on a bow, plus 2 socketed support gems. And damage per frenzy charge is kind of nice, but there just weren't any other strictly better suffixes. And then quivers having very good implicits that you can craft for. 2% of life recovered on kill allows me to cosplay as a trickster, and then there's a bunch of other minor utility ones, and it's pretty easy to go for a double fractured quiver with a second good implicit because people don't really care about quivers with plus life gained locked in as a fractured mod, which is what you need to get the percent recovery on kill. So you get fractured 12 or more life gained locked in, and just make sure you have a second fractured mod that's decent locked in. You scour, you use all 3, and you just roll the dice on what your mods are going to be. If you can get all 3 of the same on both rolls, that's even better. That's what I did to make this. I got 3 quivers with, I think it was T2 life or higher locked in, and 12 or more life gained locked in, scoured, used all 3, then crafted the affixes. This quiver by itself solves all the recovery problems for the build. I will sometimes take a hit down to 5 or 10% of my life and just instantly refill back to full as I'm clearing, because as you saw, the contagion, even if I'm stuck off to a screen trying to dodge something, the contagion will keep spreading and kill a million monsters and fill me all the way back up to full HP. As far as the rest of the gear, it's pretty straightforward. Bisco's Leash, good quant belt. Goldworm, good quant boots. Sadima's Touch, good quant gloves. Pariah, good quant ring. If you get a white socket on it, 15% item quantity per white socket. So we can get 50 quant currently between all of that. And then I could get a Spine Fused Talisman for another 10, and a Venter's Gamble for another 10. That's eventually going to happen. The chest piece is a Carcass Jack, because AoE is good. And for the helmet, I have a Delve-crafted helmet with nearby enemies have negative chaos res, and the Malevolence has reduced mana reservation enchant, because that allows me to reserve Malevolence, Blasphemy Temp Chains, and Aspect of the Spider, slowing everything around me massively, making it so nothing ever gets to hit me, and allowing me to map in T15s and 16s with 5.1k life, which is a bit on the low side for sure. Still honestly decently respectable considering all of the quant gear on though, and if you really didn't want to go the quant route with this, which you don't have to, you can get some, high movement speed boots, you can get a really nice Stygian, maybe roll it with Aberrance for % chaos damage, you can get non-ailment multi on your gloves, and you can just get another, good ring along the lines of this one, and become rather tanky, potentially, and get, 6.5k life, even if you have the Mind Over Matter route that I believe Turkey is going, and really make a decently tanky, fast-clearing Essence Drain build out of Deadeye. Deadeye's a very competitive option for Essence Drain in general. I just felt that if I'm going to go Deadeye, I may as well go all in on Quant and make a super fast map-clearing Quant Essence Drain build, and it has worked out wonderfully. I love this character. I'm going to be playing it a lot. If I can make it survivable enough, I might consider investing in an alternate set of gear that isn't quant gear and instead is, decently tanky survivable gear. If I do that, then I might actually even push this build to 100. It's that much fun. I really want to play it. I'm going to sleep tonight, and I'm anticipating getting to wake up again tomorrow morning and stream playing this build for another 8 hours. I'm really looking forward to that. So, yeah, there'll be a full path of building for the build in its current state in the description of the video. If you want to check that out and fiddle with it, let me know if you have any suggestions or ideas about it. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one, guys.